Hey guys, Will here. I'm here in my mate Ray's garage today. We're going to be lowering his WRX. Now, it's sitting on MCA blue coilovers, and there's a couple of different ways that you can lower a car on coilovers, and it's a bit of a topic of hot debate, so I thought this would be a really good opportunity to kind of show you guys the right way to do this. There's a couple of little tips and tricks to it, so it might sound easy, but it can actually be quite complicated. So today I'm going to be showing you the right way to do it so you don't have any problems, so let's jump in.
Siri, who are you talking to?
Okay, so the first thing we do is we take our supplied C-spanners, which come with most coilovers, and we... Whoa, now let's hold it here for a moment. A lot of people are going to be saying, why on earth is he loosening the spring seat to adjust the ride height? Now, there's a very, very good reason why we're doing it this way. So, MCA Suspension works a little bit differently from some other coilover manufacturers, so make sure you always check with your manufacturer depending on the coilover setup that you have. But most people think that the best way to lower a car with coilovers is to adjust the length of the shock body by winding the shock body into the bottom mount, and this is called base height adjustment. Now, there's a couple of issues with setting it up this way. The biggest issue is bump travel. Now, bump travel determines the amount of distance that the shock body moves up and down when you go over bumps. So if you've got a large amount of bump travel, that means the wheel can move up and down a lot. If you've got a reduced amount of bump travel, the amount of distance that the wheel can move up and down over bumps is reduced. Now, the aim here is to make sure that we match our bump travel to the height of the vehicle. So you can imagine if we've got a lot of bump travel and the wheel is quite close to the guard already, when we go over a bump, that wheel is going to come up and it's going to hit your guard before it actually reaches the bump stop of the suspension. So that means that you're going to damage your guards, you're going to be bottoming out, and it's going to cause you no end of problem. So what we want to do here is we want to reduce the amount of bump travel relative to the height of the car, therefore allowing us to have the maximum amount of suspension travel without any tire contact. And the way we achieve this is adjusting the spring seat position instead of adjusting the bottom mount. Now, the reason there's a lot of debate about this is because obviously adjusting the spring seat position adjusts the amount of preload that's on the spring. By preload, we mean the amount of tension that's on the spring when the car's jacked up and the suspension's not under load. We can see here in this video that MCA put out a little while ago that adjusting the spring seat position and adjusting the amount of preload on the spring doesn't actually adjust the spring rate. So what that means is that by adjusting the ride height via the spring seat, we can adjust the amount of bump travel as well as the ride height in proportion with each other, which means we're not going to run into those issues that you would if you were adjusting just off base height alone. Because we haven't adjusted the spring rate, we're not actually altering the handling characteristics of the car at all under the weight of the vehicle. So another thing to consider here is what happens when the spring seat is adjusted beyond the length of the spring itself, meaning that the spring becomes untrapped and can move around. Now, this isn't a problem with MCA suspension because they got a very clever design which keeps that spring in position even when it becomes untrapped, so it slots straight back in as soon as you drop the car back down. Now, with the vehicle jacked up, the shocks are extended to their maximum length. But when we drop the vehicle off the jacks again, that spring's going to become trapped again. So the only time that this would become a problem is if you were building a rally car that is going to get airborne and obviously max out the amount of travel on the shocks to the point where the spring becomes untrapped. But for a road car or a racing car that never sees airtime, you're never going to have a problem with this. So as long as you've got a system in place that allows the spring to go back into its correct trap position without intervention, you won't have a problem with this. Now, regardless of whether you're lowering your vehicle via spring seat position or base height adjustment, it's not as simple as a 1-to-1 ratio. So you'll need to check with the manufacturer of your suspension to see exactly how much you need to raise or lower that position to raise or lower the car by the desired amount. In this case, with this particular car, it's 1-to-1 on the front shock absorbers. So if we lower it by 2 centimeters or 20 millimeters on the shock body, we'll be lowering the front of the car by 2 centimeters as well. On the back of the car, in this particular case, it's a 0.8-to-1 ratio. So we want to lower the spring seat position 16 millimeters for a 2 centimeter drop.
And you keep changing your mind.
that's it guys, we've lowered the car about 2 centimetres and it's looking really, really nice, really happy with the way it's turned out. Ray loves it, which is the important thing, so he's going to take it for a drive, let it settle a little bit more, and then he can fine tune it from there if he wants to. But hopefully you found the video interesting and useful. That's the correct way to adjust MCA coilovers ride height. So if you've liked the video, make sure you hit the like button below, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next one, and I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot for watching, bye.